A while ago, I put up a video where I was shooting target focused with iron sights. Had me out in the desert in my spot where I like to shoot there, and showed me shooting a group slow fire with the iron sights and talking about target focus. So let's go through some of the comments on that video because there's a lot, and I want to read through some people's experiences. So I pinned this one up at the top. I did a fundamentals course with you in Peterborough, Canada last September, and 6 months, many matches, and maybe 15,000 rounds later. Yep. I can say I'm finally starting to shoot target focus with the iron sights on my Shadow 2. At first, I would do the back and forth thing. You kept telling me you're over confirming, you're still over confirming. Yeah, I'm like a broken record, man. I'm sorry. But after a while, I realized that when I went back to the front sight, it was right where it should be. So now I just send it. What's really weird too is now I see the holes going in the target as my focus is there too instead of on the front sight. I have to admit though, for tight shots, I still want to get back or check back to the sight. I got more work to do. Yeah. So the experience that you're having is really common where what happens is people look to a spot they want the bullets to go. They look over there, the sight comes in, and they'll see like the shadow of the iron sights are there. It's like, again, you're looking through them so you just see the blurred outline of the iron sights. Uh, for a lot of target types, like that's really all you need to see. Like you're not helping yourself by flipping your focus back to the front sight. Your eyes, your eye muscles have to do a focal depth change. That's not helping you, and that's really the kind of the core point of shooting target focused is you're just not playing the back and forth game and then front side target, front side target, front side target. If you just stop doing that, you're going to save a ton of time. It's just difficult to get your brain acclimated to it, especially in this guy's case. Like this is very common. You get them going, they're like shooting, 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 target focus, all good. Then they go to one target for whatever reason, they judge it as challenging, and then they want to aim at it, then stare at the sight. Um, yeah, and you just try to break that as much as you can. Next comment, not sure how relevant this is. I found that spending a year learning to shoot a red dot pistol was absolutely the best thing I ever did to improve my iron sight shooting. Didn't even train that hard with it, just a couple nights of dry fire a week, learning my presentation where the dot was. And one day, live fire session, I pulled the old 1911 and found to my surprise that not only was I target focused with iron sights, I could now shoot irons both eyes open, something that had eluded me for decades. Yeah, so that is a thing that can happen. So if you want to trying different equipment, a lot of times, I mean, I'm not saying shooting with a red dot's the answer to your iron sight problems, but a lot of times for people just playing with a different piece of gear or, shooting a different platform for a while, that just helps get them paying attention a little bit differently. And shooting a red dot can feel dramatically different than shooting irons. So I could totally see that. So if you've been only shot irons for X number of years, yeah, try the dot, and vice versa. Vice versa. You never know what you might learn. Another thing I found is that people are looking at their iron sights. They're usually closing one eye to avoid seeing the target in double. Make sure both eyes are open. It's a lot easier to get them to focus on the target. One of the troubles you'll still run into is that in their focus may be on the target, but their attention and a mental sense is on the sights, meaning they'll still wait to see something, however blurry, from the sights and pull the trigger at a moment that the sights aren't covering what they're ostensibly aiming at. I think the root of the problem is simply not enough time put in to build consistency with the gun placement, whereas a more experienced shooter places the gun in the same orientation every time and points without devoting significant conscious resources to front and rear sight alignment. Yeah, there's a lot to that. Now, the double vision thing, to me, I say just tell people get used to it. So if I'm aimed here, I have double vision. Now I have a gun here, then a double vision ghost gun off to the right side of it. I'm right eye dominant, and so that I know that always the gun on the left, like the clear gun, the clear looking gun, that's the one that's going to have the sight references on top of it that I actually use. And that's it. So double vision, I'm always like, for me, always the left gun, always. Like the double vision thing is like it's annoying for people, but it's not really like a problem. Once you understand, it's not a problem. Ben, thank you for posting these excellent videos. All the hours of work you share this has made me a much better pistol shooter. Well, thank you. Today I had day-night qual with the new AZ law enforcement qual. 40 rounds compared to 50. I made easy work of the qual. Yep, your presentation is very easy to understand. Calm approach, definitely under. Okay, thank you for making. Yes, you're welcome. Very, very welcome. Next comment. When I started shooting IPSC matches, I naturally developed a tendency to target focus on anything within 7 or 10 yards. I guess mostly because it speeds things up and seems more natural. After later shooting dots, mostly I stopped further experimenting with it and basically shoot target focus up close and front sight focus for harder shots. However, with most of my latest irons pistol matches being indoor, the lighting conditions are also very challenging for the more seasoned iron sight shooters. Adding another layer of target focusing for also the precise shots there probably need to be get a bit of getting used to. But coming from the dot, I understand the benefits of both, especially on move or shooting moving targets. Yeah, so this is where most people are at when they're shooting irons. If they're honest with themselves, they'll target focus for some stuff and then stare at the sight for other stuff. That's how most people shoot red dots too, by the way. I mean, I'm not saying that's right, but that's what they do. They'll like look at targets. If they judge it as easy shooting, they'll just look at the targets and spray them. If they're threatened by the distance or difficulty or presentation of the targets, they stare at the red dot and over confirm everything. Not saying that's right, but that's where most people land. What you want to do, I think, is get on the target focus train as much as you can. And indoor with the lighting is very, very challenging. Like indoor matches with irons can be annoying. When I started, I was shooting irons, but then I did not have the knowledge to understand that if I was target focused, front sight focus, or whatever, then after a year or so, I switched to a red dot for a while. Started watching your videos, experimenting, and experiencing things. Then I switched back to irons, and I realized what target focus is. Good, that is good. You experiment, and you learn stuff. Now I know that when I started shooting, I was front sight focused all day, but now I very occasionally focus on the front sight for shots I consider difficult. And sometimes I feel like I shoot a stage without consciously even seeing my front sight, but kind of subconsciously I know it's there because otherwise, how would I get good hits? For me, it's a really weird feeling to be target focused. It's almost like super uncomfortable because I feel like I don't know where I'm shooting. Very often when I shoot at a high pace, I get this surprise feeling that my shots were actually good, but I didn't perceive them to be good. I don't know if you know what I mean. No, I know exactly what you mean. So when you're shooting target focused and you're shooting really aggressively, especially shooting irons, like you're gonna have like you'll just see this little like flash of green. I mean, for me with the green fiber, like I'll see the flash of green, and it's just like I know after some experience that my rounds went right where I wanted. But initially, when you're doing it, it just feels weird and it feels like it's happening without your involvement or it shouldn't be happening that way. I say to people a lot like sometimes your vision is going to catch up with your shooting. Like you're doing true target focus, you're looking at spots, you see the outline of the gun there and then you pull the trigger and the rounds are going where you want. But if you keep repeating that process, your vision kind of catches up and you start processing. You're like, oh, okay, no, I saw the fiber up front. I saw the flash of color right through the notch. Like I know those rounds went where I want, and your vision catches up. You start processing what's happening, and then you get comfortable with it. Uh, I've I've experienced that a lot, and I've had students experience that a lot, where they're shooting like more comfortable than more uncomfortable than they would like. They're not comfortable with the pace. They get them to shoot aggressively, and again, eventually the vision catches up with what they're doing. So very interesting comments. Target focus with irons. Like I said, I think it's the way to do it if you can do it. You should definitely try it and keep the comments coming. This is very useful comments on this video. So I do appreciate that, especially for the other people. Like people can read through the comments and be like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on here.